I'm Steph Strickland with GeekWire Studios. I would like to introduce to you our panelists. Christina?
Hello, everybody. I am Cristina Rodriguez. I'm Vice President and General Manager of the Wireless Access Network Division for Intel.
And Klaus.
Yeah, hi, I'm Klaus Petersen from Hewlett Packard Enterprise. I'm part of our newly formed communications technology group responsible for our telecommunications infrastructure solutions.
Well, perfect way for me to start this question. You just came off HPE Telco Day, where you both spoke about these very exciting developments that are happening at HPE and Intel. So first, let's talk about what is happening with 5G and RAN technology. Klaus?
Well, I think the exciting thing that's happening right now is we're seeing the development in the RAN space that we have seen going on in the core of the network for some time. So that means in order to get the flexibility and agility that the carriers need on the RAN side, they're disaggregating the RAN the same way as they have done in core networks, therefore creating a much more open marketplace and a much more innovative marketplace to build out those networks and taking advantage of all the benefits that 5G will bring us and the carriers.
Christina, your thoughts?
Look, the RAN is evolving quickly to support all the new use cases that are coming with 5G. So bringing that virtualization, that cloud native aspect to the RAN will intelligently boost capacity, will reduce cost, will enhance end user experience. We are seeing the also bringing the flexibility and scalability to support new applications and new services. The operators are they're under pressure to not only provide that increased demand in capacity, but also doing by offering differentiating services, differentiating applications. And this is the time to bring that network function virtualization that we saw working so well in the core and that we have been working and transforming the network architecture, bringing that virtualization into the RAN space. Intel have been working on it for a few years now, 10 years, and we're working with a wider ecosystem. We just set that a point. We have more than 400 partners in the as a Intel network builders partners, and what we're doing with HPE is taking that additional collaboration, more cooperation, and just offering this opportunity to bring innovation together, to bring innovation into 5G.
Let's talk more about that. So you just spoke about the virtualization of the RAN. Why is this so important to the end customer? Klaus?
Well, again, as I said before, it's all got to do with complexity and a flat revenue. Of course, we're all looking for what will drive incremental revenue as we introduce 5G networks. But when you look in the RAN space, there's an awful lot of antenna to be deployed. And as you deploy all these antennas, it gets more complex to manage. So there's an increasing need for building out an infrastructure that is easy to manage, easy to extend, etc. So that begs for more open compute systems. But at the same time, we have to do it in a way so it doesn't come with a huge economical burden. RANs have, from a sort of infrastructure perspective, actually been very efficient to deploy in the old model with the more dedicated appliances, but it's just not flexible enough for the future. So we're here to try to help bring that forward, take risk out of those deployments and innovate to keep the cost curve coming down, keep the flexibility going up, and thereby enabling these new applications that Christina was talking about that indeed will be enabling the additional revenue.
Christina, do you care to expand on that?
Sure, and exactly, right? I like very much what Klaus said, but I'll mention a few benefits, right? Number one, with bringing virtualization to the RAN will allow operators to program the network based upon the demand, the workload, the specific service that they want to offer. That's one aspect. Another aspect is enable to bring compute closer to the end user. So basically, the build out of the edge, and what that gives us is lower latency, higher reliability, which is so important for again the new 5G use cases. The other important aspect is that this architecture also makes it easy to bring artificial intelligence and machine learning into the picture, which is going to give us better decision, will translate to better cost, less complexity. What we're talking about here is basically doing something that has been done for many years in the cloud, and also what we saw happening in the core also, but it's extending that economy of a scale, server economy of a scale, is being able to leverage the availability of tools, the availability of solutions that are coming from the ecosystem, the open source software, the access to millions of programmers that are already trained on this. It's just the whole package. It's also another aspect. I will mention one more thing, is the giving the operators the possibility to with agility address the new 5G use cases specifically for the enterprise, the variety of use cases in the enterprise side.
It's incredibly exciting. I have to ask, how are HPE and Intel addressing these emerging opportunities? Klaus?
Well, there's obviously many levels to it, but at the base level of helping our customers deploy the most efficient infrastructure, what HPE is doing is really trying to think about the whole problem that our customers are trying to solve. It's all too tempting to just build another server, but that's not what we're doing. We're really working very closely with our customers and our partners like Intel, other vendors in the ecosystem, to understand how the infrastructure needs to look in order to be efficiently deployed today, but also evolve into the future and take risk out of the whole stack. If you think about how many components goes into one of these elements before it actually gets deployed, there's all the different elements from NICs, accelerators, the server itself, the CPU, the SSDs. That in itself is a complex beast, and it needs to be optimized for the workload that we are talking about. Secondly, you're then putting the software elements on top, the container platforms that will host the workloads, and you're integrating it with switches and things on site that maybe you can actually move into software on the compute platform. All of that needs to be taken into account, and it's a lot of engineering. So we are spending a lot of time taking risk out of that simply by working with partners, testing and making sure it really works. So that's at the, if you will, sort of the infrastructure level. On top of that, we also have a lot of capabilities at the software level, because when you start changing your infrastructure like this, you really need to think about how you can optimize the sort of orchestration and management of these platforms. And HPE has a great portfolio of software there. So you can manage right from the core out onto the edge deployment of advanced applications for revenue generations, as well as software for simply RAN processing. And then we have all the services and other things we help with so that we can work with partners, because HPE cannot and will not provide the complete stack. We are not a radio processing company, but working closely with our partners so our customers with the lowest risk can deploy everything they need, both for RAN processing and looking forward towards incremental revenue generation.
Christina, that's where Intel comes in.
Well, I have to say we're super excited about HPE ProLiant, the L110, their server optimized for vRAN. We're very excited that they are using our newest third generation of Intel Xeon scalable processors. Super excited that HPE is taking our technology and applying it to bring again innovation to 5G. When we design our technology, we are designing with the infrastructure in mind across the entire the core, the access, the edge, virtualized RAN, of course. So this is very good to see. Just to put put it in perspective and why I'm so excited about it, this our newest third generation of Intel Xeon scalable processor, together with our Ethernet 800 series and our VRAN accelerators, you put that together, and what you get is 2 times the massive MIMO throughput performance in a similar power envelope that you were getting before. Right? So we're talking about here best in class 3 by 100 megahertz 6040 64R. Right? So quite impressive, quite a step up from generation over generation. We're super excited to bring this to the industry, and super excited to be working with HPE based on that technology.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges the industry is facing with virtualizing RAN and what HPE and Intel are doing to address this. Klaus?
Yeah, I think, again, back to reducing the risk. We are working and are building up the experience to help our partners in that space. Earlier, already on the cascades of the previous generation of Intel processors, we have released, edge-specific computers that are carrying vRAN workloads today. The DL110 that Christina is mentioning, that platform will of course be upgraded to the latest processors as well, but the DL110 is then a specific effort, and I think it's a very good example of the kind of work we're doing, where we step back and look at, okay, as we get into the Ice Lake, the next generation of Intel's technology here, when we get into that era, and with the accelerators that are underway, with the other elements that are coming in from a software perspective, how do we design a platform from the ground up that's really optimized for these workloads? So when we talk about this platform, we don't talk about how many PCI slots it has. We think about how many antennas can we connect, okay? Of different narrowband, midband. And that's how our customers are thinking about it. How much space do we need behind for the air vents to be able to keep the server cool in this kind of strange environment that a cell site can be? But it's really turning the whole thing around, and rather than think generic compute, think about how can we take all the innovation, all the expertise we have from building the world's best servers for so many years, and use that to build the most optimal technology for solving these customer problems, which is about bringing innovation out to the edge of the network, cost efficiencies like we've never seen before as we roll out these many antennas in these complex environments.
Christina, this is something that obviously has to be very exciting and dynamic for you. Can I get your thoughts on this?
Yes, look, this is what we're doing is new, and it's not easy, and it requires, I would say, two important things. Number one, it requires to bring the learnings from the people that are deploying first, but also the learnings from people that have built servers like Klaus, the experience on server, the experience that we have in the virtualization transformation for so many years, and learn from that as an industry, right? It's also, and that will be the second thing I will mention, it's also that ecosystem, that strong ecosystem working together is important. As you know, Intel has a long history of working with partners, working with ecosystem, from ISVs to operating system, to different software, to different components of the hardware that made a system. So this is important. This is not a work for one single company. This is a collaboration, and that's one of the reasons why we also decided to announce to introduce a new member of our Intel Select solution. This is, as you probably know, best known configurations for the different workloads. So we are we're introducing an Intel Select solution for vRAN workload. And based on that, HPE and Intel work together on what we're calling a verified reference configuration, VRC, or blueprint. You'll hear from Klaus referring to blueprint also. And this is a platform with best known configurations that at the end of the day will mean for the industry, for our customer, will be a simple path to the virtualization architecture, less complexity, less risk, and of course, faster time to market. So again, very excited to be working together on that also.
Let me get some final thoughts from the both of you. We'll start with you, Klaus.
Well, I think, HP is committed to this space. We are, as we talked about, making investments specifically to help establish this market and then help grow it as it happens. And I think with Intel and some of the work that Christina was mentioning, we are actually taking a lot of the risk out. We're helping accelerate the time to an economically viable deployment with these technologies. And it's inevitable that the industry will have to move to these open systems for RAN processing. And the choice is really, do you take the first rollout of 5G and approaches with more traditional technology and then shift to open technology later when you no longer can manage your networks with the old approach? Or do you take the step now towards open disaggregated RAN technologies in order to be prepared for the future? And I absolutely believe that Intel and HPE together is the right partnership to help you do the latter. If you are ready to move forward today, so are we, and we are jointly engaged with many customers that are indeed moving forward with a more open RAN approach.
And Christina, final thoughts from you.
Absolutely. Look, I'm looking forward to see what the industry is and how the industry is going to leverage the technology that we're bringing. And I mentioned the third generation or the newest addition to the third generation of Intel Xeon scalable processors, the Intel Select solution, the reference configuration, the verified reference configuration that HPE and Intel have worked together. And looking forward to see what the industry is going to do with that and with the value that the ecosystem and partners such as HPE is bringing into the table, again, to create the most flexible infrastructure for 5G, the most future-proven infrastructure for 5G. And again, as I said, it's not an easy path, but it's an exciting one, a one that we believe very much on, a one that we are committed on. And we're here. Intel is here for you to be every step of the way beside you, making it this a reality and completely enabling the full promise of 5G.
Thank you so much to our panelists today. And you can check out more at the URL you see on your screen.